The first section, Liability 101, Understanding Insurance Better. To a lot of consumers, insurance is a very complicated, complex subject. You certainly know when your invoices arrive for your renewal, and whether you use your insurance or not, sometimes it's a bit of a mystery how it works and what to expect in a claim situation. The worst case scenario, of course, is that something happens. You go running to find your insurance policy or call your agent or broker and find out that something that's happened is not insured, or that there was insurance available if only you'd been more knowledgeable. Now, with home and auto insurance, the products tend to be fairly simple, straightforward. But when you start dealing with business insurance and insurance for institutions like churches and charities, the marketplace and the coverages can be very, very complicated because they vary dramatically from one insurance company to the next. And oftentimes the differences in the coverages are based on the conditions, the exclusions, the definitions in the policy wordings, basically what you would refer to as being in the fine print. So getting these things addressed and reviewed up front is a very important thing for leaders of churches and charities, for trustees, board members, administrators, or even for senior pastors that happen to have the insurance files thrown on their desk to take care of. So this is to help you become a little bit better educated about liability insurance. First of all, if you're not already aware of it, I think most people are certainly becoming aware of the fact that plaintiffs, courts, and juries are treating charities and non-for-profit organizations with the same standards of legal liability as for-profit corporations. This was not true perhaps 2 or 3 decades ago, but there have been a steady stream of lawsuits against churches and Christian charities over the past 2 or 3 decades. And the sources of liability, the plaintiffs in these cases, are drawn from a wide variety of categories in society. It could be employees of the organization suing for wrongful dismissal. It could be participants in your programming, your events. It could be members of your own church, volunteers that work with you or for you, donors who give money to your organization and expect you to follow their wishes with respect to how the money is to be used. With another very large issue nowadays is outside user groups. What happens when other organizations or individuals use your facilities and they or their guests suffer an injury and turn around and, to your surprise, sue you as the host church? There's other parties such as regulatory bodies, contractors, creditors, and a variety of other parties who can and do sue churches and Christian charities on a regular basis. And therefore, it's very important for the decision makers of your organization to have a good understanding of the liability exposures that are facing your organization. Also, a bit of a wake-up call is the personal liability of the board members, who can be sued individually based on their decisions and policies that they set as board members. Many board members don't understand this, and it's important to realize that there is a personal risk involved as well that you need to think about in terms of addressing with such things as directors and officers' liability. And finally, just to understand the scope. In other words, what is possible with insurance? What can you cover? But also the limitations, understanding some of the things that are simply not insurable by law.